Oh, I didn't turn on my cameras. Look at me. I had everything else ready. I actually turned off like the speakers this time, so it didn't backfeed on me. But I didn't turn on the cameras. I never seem to be able to get like two things at once on lives. I don't know. It's kind of funny. Well, at least it's funny to me. Oh, I'm trying to make a big old mess too. Anyway, welcome to Pieces of Pat's Paints. I'm Pat. Um, this is the piece we're working on right now. His name is Radagon. He's from a game called Elden Ring. Uh, it's a pretty cool game. I don't know a whole lot about the game. I haven't played it, I should say. I know a lot more about it now. I had to look up a bunch of stuff. So today we've got to get the rest of this arm done. Um, and then we're gonna make it kind of like a smoky look. Because when you look at it on the source material, that's what it looks like. It looks like it's kind of disintegrating into smoke or something like that. So, we're going to get to that. Let my brush hang out, get wet, find us some music to listen to. Because, it's always better when there's a little music going on. At least in my opinion. Very carefully set that guy down. I'm so afraid he's going to get just busted up. Welcome to... At any minute. Alright. Now I'm back on the grind myself. All the kids are back to being in school, which is exciting in a way, I suppose. So, we're going to kind of start. We need kind of a darker color. We're going to start, because this is going to get lighter as we come down. So we're just going to start down here with this gray. And we're just going to give it all once over in this first gray. And then we'll come back and do the other ones. And then we might add some black to this. I might even throw a wash on it. Now we didn't add any other colors to this, so it is going to be a little bit different than the rest of our stuff because everything else kind of has a yellow in it. So it'll be missing that coloration, which should help us with the overall look. Hello, sweetie. I appreciate you saying hi. Kay Bryce is my lovely partner in all things life. She is an amazing supporter of everything that we do here at the channel, and occasionally she's on. If you wanna, she does coloring in different coloring books and stuff. She's very good at inking things in. Now the good thing about something like this is we're going to be able to kind of get a little freeform with it here in a bit, but we want to be careful at this starting point, especially right here where the hair meets up. Like I said, we may put a little bit more black in here in just a bit, but for now we need something to look at, some sort of a color, so we can kind of decide what we want to do. Whether that happens to be a wash or not is, we'll find out when we get there. Get down here where it can be seen. Here we go. I guess technically some of this should be the same little cross thing from the other side, the Elden Ring part, but that's going to be really hard to duplicate exactly. So we're going to kind of, and nobody, I don't think you're going to have a lot of people looking at this from the back. Like I said, it's a sculpture that's intended to be set up on the top. So we're just going to get this kind of filled in. We're not going to stress it too much. We'll kind of blend it into this side, just ever so slightly. Like I said, we're going to need to work in maybe an even darker gray, like almost black. Yeah, that's what we want right there. I'm gonna lighten that up. I'm gonna lighten that up just a little bit more. Right, kind of an in between those two. And this should be a lot of more kind of playful than like a standard brush stroke. You're not necessarily trying to keep them all going the same direction. That's not necessary for this. In the end, we're probably going to pull some little bit of wisps of white down through some of this. So it'll look great. There we go. Bring a little bit of this onto his shoulder. And just kind of working it around a little bit. We want to leave it loose, but we also want to try and pull up these edges and lines. it's complicated, especially since we're kind of making this up as we go along. The source material, he's not made like this, so I kind of have to make up an idea of how to get the look from our source material and translate it over to the model. So there's some guesswork there. I think we're doing so good. So far, so good. You can definitely tell that's not black, as black's in the chest. And it's starting to smoke. Looks smoky as it's coming down his arm. We're doing all right. Kind of what we wanted. That's good. Get the underneath of this arm going. I left the back end a little darker on purpose. Just to kind of help give us some change between the front and the back. All right. Now this is that first grade we're working with. Just going to kind of give it a dress up coming up through here. All right, so I'm going to bring it up just a little. We need to keep kind of varying this up. Make it a little lighter. I'm just kind of letting it be playful. I'm really not pushing very hard. I'm just wisping it around. Said it's really hard to emulate the exact way the game does because it's oscillating. So like it's like I mean the smoke is changing as it's going, and like so is like the whole body is changing. So it's kind of hard with a static piece to come up with that. So the best way to do it is to, like I said, we're pulling that smoke up, like smoke and mist and stuff rises typically. I mean, occasionally it sinks, but typically, mentally, we think of smoke and steam and things are rising. So if he's disintegrating, you think of it kind of coming up. So you're trying to move your brush strokes in a way that's going to kind of come up the model. Is the best way to kind of put that. I don't know, just like ever slightly brighter shades of white here. And then you don't go up quite as far with the next ones. Right, we don't want to go quite as far up with it. Remember, it is going to fade a little bit on you, so it's okay to come up a little ways, but we don't want to come all the way up the shoulder at this point. We're just going to kind of come up these forearm sections. And just a little bit to the bicep, just to kind of give us a little differentiation. Again, I'm pulling these brush strokes up as I'm going. The good thing is you need less of it as you go too, so you know you'll. If you're mixing on your wet palette, you'll know that. Sometimes it's easier just to make a big mix of the original and then kind of keep coming up as you go, changing it and stuff. Oh, we're cruising right along. Straight white. Very little gray left in here. That's a little too much. Those little pock marks are from the print. I probably should have filed it down just a little bit more, but well, we got to take care of it. You won't see it. It's in the back, and it's all painted up at this point. You just see. The only way you'd see it is if you picked up the model, which is the way we want it. All right. So another little blob of white. Maybe a big blow than that. Get that water off. I don't want to go. I don't think I want to go all the way white because the background he's in isn't that way. But I am going to take. I'm going to come down a couple grades. I'm going to take this darker green, and I'm just going to kind of add a few little dark points over the top of this, just to kind of blend it in a little and make it look like we've got a couple different destinations for the smoke to start off with. It's looking pretty snazzy. Alright, so this is going to be really hard to do it much better than that. Just because the way the model is done makes it really difficult. It'd be fun the way it looks if we had been able to get this piece separate, this chest piece separate, and then be able to like print part of his arm clear, and then that way you had something on the inside that looked a little bit more like a nub or whatever. But that's not too shabby. All right. So, with all that being done, I gotta very carefully put you aside. I'm very nervous. I hate laying this thing down. It always makes me nervous. His hair is just so everywhere. So I have tons of these towels, so we're gonna give him a little bit of a bed over here. Very, very gently put him down. And we're gonna talk about painting marble. So there's lots of different ways to paint marble. So I like these. These are not inexpensive. This is a synthetic brush. And it's real rough. You can hear it. So, but it's going to work great for this, because what we need to do is that. And shake the camera around. That's what we're going to do. That's fun. Okay. Okay, so marble's got like a bunch of different things in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a bunch of different colored flecks in here, and we're going to kind of keep it something where it's going to kind of coordinate with what we're doing. And then we'll come back with like some veins of some of our metallic paints, and then we'll blotch the white over the top of it, and it'll look great. So anyway, I think we need to put a little bit of red in a couple places. Oh, let's see. Just a little bit of orange too. That's kind of fun. Okay. I feel like we should have another color. Let's let that dry for just a little bit, and then I want to put like a blue in it or something. Acrylic blue is fun. That might be too. Yeah, that's not authentic. That's not realistic looking enough. I need something that's like a fleck of. Maybe Winsor blue. That's pretty dark. That's like cobalt. Well, I guess we wouldn't really see a bunch of blue in there, would we? Okay. Maybe some browns. Yep. Okay, so the next thing you do is you paint a little bit of like your metallics. A lot of times you'll do like one line or two, and we're going to put some white on it, and then we're going to come back and do some more lines. Looks like that needs a little bit more water, so we're going to add a little bit more water to it. So we want this to really just kind of line down. And don't be afraid to kind of do this. A lot of this stuff's going to get covered up, so it's okay if it looks a little jankety or whatever. It's not going to make that much of a difference in the end. Because we're definitely getting ready to just paint right over the top of most of this. We do want to let it dry for just a second. Because we don't really want to blend the colors together per se. We wanted the colors to kind of sit on top of each other. And we're going to do this in a few different layers. So it's going to be... Oop, I'm trying to kill some Tyranids. So it's going to be fun. This is well, I think it's fun. Oh, I know way we can add blue to it. We can make it kind of a gray. So we can do this Payne's gray. This will be a good first layer too. This is like a blue gray, Payne's gray. Gotta wait for that umber to finish drying. We'll just work our way up there. Now keep moving your brush around. Don't leave it in the same space. Kind of therapeutic. Smacking it. Or, well, I mean smacking the paint on here, not the camera. Actually gives me a little anxiety. I'm always like, I don't know, I grew up in a time where like if you accidentally knocked the camera on the tripod or whatever, the whole tripod was probably going to collapse and the camera was probably going to go with it. And everybody was going to freak out because, like, it was, you know, somebody's week's worth of salary or something. I'm old. At least I feel old. I'm not actually that old. But, man, I sure do feel it. Okay, I'll let that set it for just a second. And we're going to add some, probably pull some of our colors back. I'm going to give it a second. This is another one of those things where it's better to just kind of do this in layers and bits and bits and bits. And then as it comes up, it's going to look great. At first you're going to freak. You're going to be like, oh my God, what have I done? But keep working with it. It's going to look great. Trust me. And some people, they like to put different colors on their brush and then like pop it. And I guess you could do that. That's a good, you know, if you like that kind of deal. I'm a little, like when I'm dabbing like that, I'm a little heavy. So like I end up blending my colors up anyway. So I found it works better for me to kind of, you know, come at it a little bit at a time. Where's our trusty can of air? We love that stuff. Plus it's a fun sound effect. Very close, very close. too. I like that little bit of brown in it. Now we gotta let it dry again. Same old, same old. Seems like we're always hurrying up to wait, but we're like way ahead. I didn't think we were gonna get this base done today. We're gonna have this guy finished today. Like it's gonna be done at this rate. Like we're just barely into this. I am cruising. Must have been the fact that I made this coffee with Red Bull. That's what. I didn't really do that. Don't do that. Hey, listen. Don't take that as advice. Please don't do that. I got to be careful what I say on the internet. I'll influence somebody in a negative light, and I don't want to do that. I'd like to be a positive force in people's lives. For those folks who come by and see my shenanigans. Well, I guess we're not completely done. I gotta figure out what the heck I'm gonna do with this thing. I guess we need to start doing that now, huh? Well, I think we paved the whole thing Vermilion. And we'll start making it look like it's on fire. And this brush is as good as any to do that with now, so we're gonna just go ahead and scrub this paint on here real quick. That way we can get all the way in these nooks and crannies. This thing kind of turns your paint to foam. Probably should have got my other brush out. That's okay. It's okay, this kind of dries weird. We're going to make it look like flames. Or, well, like the glowing thing. It's the Elden ring, just like his chest is. So we're going to make it look like that eventually. But we kind of just, what right now I'm trying to do is trying to get it in these underneath and in the little cracks. So this is probably going to take more than one coat. So, let that sit down for a second. We'll get a better brush out for it. Yeah, get one of these old cheapo nappies. Always keep the brushes your kids ruin. For real. Oh yeah, that's a whole lot easier. So you can see the differences between like what one brush does and another. That definitely got that paint on here. But this is actually gonna help even it out and make it smoother. So it can dry and we can have a real coat on here. It's always fun to goof off though. Try to have some fun. And you really, this is why I say you want that junk brush. I really need to get inside all the way in those holes. And I want this to I want it to kind of sit in the holes. Because we need that as that base. Here we go. Because I want it to sit more at the bottoms, less at the top. That's just going to even it out real nice for us. there. Like I said, we gotta make this guy do something. Something. We gotta do something with it. I really think it's gonna look good in front of him if we just set it up in front of him. We've already got the one in his chest done. This can just be kind of a, yeah, because his little, whatever he's wearing, bed sheet, toga thing is just kind of, it's kind of blasé. So we can add a little bit of color to it by putting this in front. And since it came with it, might as well use it in the model somewhere, somehow. The client paid for it, so let's get it used. And again, this is going to be like a fire motif kind of thing, a light thing, so it can be a little ragged. It's okay if it's a little swatchy. All right. Remember, your white's going to fade down a lot, and this isn't pure white. It's a little bit of our Payne's gray in there as well. And like I said, you can do this with a dry brush. You don't have to go buy a whole other brush to do this work with. It could easily be done with a dry brush. Hello, my friend. Welcome back. Nice to see you. We're working on our base now. Just about done with the whole guy, which is great. Right now I'm kind of creating a marble effect is what I'm trying to do. You'll kind of see it start to come to life here. And we did that big area coverage at the start of this with that bigger brush because it helps you with that coverage. But you can definitely come down to a smaller brush as you go. Oh, maybe a little more crimson-y. make your little veins of iron and stuff like that, or whatever. This is bronze. The main thing is don't make them too straight. And we're going to cover them up again here in just a second. That's pretty much the name of the game. We're going to paint something on there, and then we blotch it again and blotch it again. And as it goes, it looks more and more like marble because you're building up the layers, which is how marble works. So like when you make marble, or granite is artificial marble. Anyway, when you see marble or granite, it's a bunch of stuff inside of itself. Granite is parts that are all mixed together and pressed, whereas marble is, over time, things have like kind of gotten stuck in it, or it's done its thing. So mix it a little bit more of that Payne's gray in there. Oop, that's got a little too much orange still in it. Get that out. Just a few of these little darker bits in here. Now when you let that dry, we'll take a look at this guy real quick for those who have come on. So this is our main guy, and he's going to sit on this once we get this done. And this is Radagon from the Elden Ring. Finished up his arm today. It's really hard to duplicate what it looks like on the source material because this is a solid piece, and I'm trying to emulate like it disappearing and dissipating. That's a difficult thing to do on a solid object. But, he's done. We're keeping him on a nice, safe little pillow over there. And I think we're going to put this in front of him. I'm going to paint it to look a lot like the thing in the Elden Ring. It'll have the bright, fiery look to it, which I think is going to play really well for us. So we'll work on that a little more. Go with our orange now. Again, you don't. Valome says, "Wow, it looks really good. See if you fit the Elden. I see you could fit the Elden Ring inside of him." Yeah, it would have been cool if we'd have been able to get this in there. Or had we been able to open up his chest and maybe make one in there or carve it out of him. The 3D print resin is so delicate that too much work on it will crack it, and so I couldn't open him up the way I would have liked to have been able to do it. Had he been in, a little bit more of the molding style plastics that they use for models, we might have been able to do a little bit more play with him. But the customer is a very happy camper. He likes the look so far. That's what matters. I think he looks great with what we had going on. I'd love to be able to do it. But I think we're going to do some more, so that's exciting because I'd love to be able to do some more of them. It's interesting characters. The studio has a pretty good artist team, and they do a great job of sticking to the world as far as like the aesthetic. Like the aesthetic of the world stays true. And again, this is that layer by layer by layer. So we kind of want a little bit of that red, that more vermilion to kind of come through. We're not afraid of it if it does. Holmes says, sadly, I have to go now. Have a good race today. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it, man. You have a good day too, bro. Be safe out there. It's a wild world. I always like it when people stop by. It definitely makes the day brighter. Especially if they're fans of whatever we're painting in general. Like, you know, I believe that gentleman knows Elden Ring, so he's a fan of the actual thing we're painting, which is great. Because that's kind of what we're trying to do. You know, we want to bring in the people that want to see the thing that's getting painted. I like having people who just want to watch it for the sake of the art too. But they're coming to watch, you know, regardless. So the idea is to draw in people who maybe wouldn't normally. Oh my gosh. Anyway, people who would normally like watch an art channel. You know, how do you draw those folks in? And it's definitely by making stuff that's going to help draw in viewers. That's exactly what we want. Staying relevant, I guess, is how that is with the, what you call that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been known to happen. Again, if it's just a little splotchy, or that's okay, because it's supposed to look on fire, so it's maybe fine. All right, almost dry, almost dry. Just kind of blot off that excess. Okay. So white again. We're just trying to kind of soften up some areas. Make sure it's a little bit drier. Yeah, there we go. And you see how that a little brush, as we've kind of come up, this little brush is more where we want it to be instead of that bigger brush. And when you start off, you need the bigger brush. You'll be banging around at this thing forever. You'll make yourself crazy. You don't want to do that. You could also do this with a sponge. If you had a sponge, you could use a sponge. I think I have one. Yeah. So like you could use a sponge to do this, and you just take the sponge and kind of like this. It goes a little bit faster. But the idea is the same. You know, this does work. This works a heck of a lot faster. So, like if you're in a hurry, get a sponge. Not, well, oh, we're almost out of time. I was goofing off with this thing forever. So, anyway, a couple different ways you could do this. So that's fun. That's good. I kind of like the sponge myself. I can push harder on it. When you use a sponge, you got, like I said, that is a massive advantage. You know, push a little bit harder. It also spreads out a little bit for you differently. And I put a little bit of that Payne's gray mix on one side and the white on the other. I hit with the dry side. And, you know, just experiment. There's a bunch of different patterns and stuff like that you'll get from this. Different sponges will do different things. Like, it's really neat. It's kind of fun. And it's really, you know, I said in a way it's kind of therapeutic. And you're going to get a pretty good look. Now we'll go ahead and draw another set of a couple sets of those lines. And you can kind of see the little bit of shine through the underneath of it every now and again, which is what we wanted. We got a little bit of the color coming through, exactly how we wanted it to look. Now we'll come through, draw the last little bit of veins. And this one needs to really be craggy and sparse, so don't worry too much about it looking too. It's okay if it fades away. It's okay if it's just a few little spaces here and there. But I definitely would always kind of make your metallics the veins. You can do a little bit of splotching with it, but it works better as veins, just from experience. There we go. Pretty simple, easy stuff there. Alright, from here, we're just going to turn this guy black again. Probably come through with a bronze on it once it dries. And the reason you want to put black on here first is so the metal is, it's going to look cleaner if there's black underneath. And you could let it dry, and you could tape it off and airbrush it. It'd be a whole lot faster. Just make sure you tape it real good. You'd be mad if you accidentally blow black paint all over your guy. You'd be mad, real mad. I'm really just trying to, like I said, even it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. But you want to get this pretty evened up. These places where we got a little bit crazy with our sponge or brushes or whatever. Just kind of get that white to mellow out. It'll look great once we put the black on it, or the bronze on there. Whichever color I was trying to say. I did not talk so good. Sometimes I talk all messed up. Maybe I did drink too much caffeine. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that. And a lot of painting, remember guys, is you're just creating the illusion to sell it to the eyeballs. Like, when you look at this way up close, are you going to be able to tell it's not real marble? Absolutely. You're going to be able to look at it and you're going to say, that's not real marble. That's fine. That's what you need it to do is when you look at it from a way distance, does it look like a piece of marble? When you have everything on there, does it look right? And if you feel like you hit that, then you did it right. You're fine. Stressing about it after that is just, driving yourself nuts. There's no need for that. If you're painting miniatures, you're already nuts. I'm not only the spokesman, I'm also a client. Okay. Alright, now, bronze. We can glue this guy to the space, and I can stop panicking. If I were a Jedi, I'd been panicking Skywalker. And like I said, this would go a whole lot faster. Tape it off, get your airbrush out, boom, 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 you knock it out real quick. You're going to do it by hand. It's going to take a little bit longer, and that's okay. Looks like I'm going to have to pick something for us to do to finish out this week. Because this thing's done. We're going to have to find something new to do. That's fun. I like that. I think we'll have to do something small in between. We'll be waiting on... I got to make contact with our client and get this delivered. Hey, what's up, Crypto Mikhail? We're painting up this Radagon. He's almost done. He's gonna look so good. Again, like I said, when you get him on there, you're not gonna notice the marble. Not really. You're gonna notice him, which is what we want. The bottom is just the bottom. You know, we want him to look awesome. We're trying to look at him. Oh, makes me so nervous. Here's all your squishies. Lay on your squishies. I want to get this thing done so I can get him glued down too, because like having him not glued down makes me nervous. I'm always that way with all my models. I'm like, oh god, get it glued down, get it glued down. Mikhail says, badass, bro. Appreciate it, my friend. Doing an awesome job. Appreciate that. I'm excited to see what the next one is. I think he got 2 of them in. I'll do something in the meantime. Something for the game, probably. I gotta paint some Sahagin. So, probably gonna be doing that. Alright, almost made it all the way around on the top. That's good. It's easier once that part's done. Make sure it all looks good and clean. Up here on this top, and we're going to go to town. 206. So close. Well, it looks like we're about to run out of time. I gotta go get kids in just a second. Maybe I can get this guy finished up before then. I'm trying to beat the bullet now. So close. make it. We're gonna make it. Oh, my nose itches so much that I can't slow down. My nose is itching like crazy. Ah! All right. There we go. Ah. Okay. Yeah, that looks great. All right. Well, from there we just glue him down, and we're gonna have to finish this up. So it looks like we're gonna have one more day working on this guy, and then we'll start on the other one. So come back tomorrow, and we're gonna finish up this emblem here, which is the Elden Ring logo. Oof. We're gonna glue this down, and we're gonna put it to where it's gonna sit like right here, kind of on the base. I was trying to figure out a way to put it to where he could stand with it, because I thought that would look super cool. I couldn't quite get it to set up properly and to give him a good center. So I like the idea of standing it up. It'll help break up all his. It'll help break up all this if we have that set in there. We might even be able to like bring it up just a little bit, and set it there. But we'll see. We'll see. We're gonna be back tomorrow. Last day with Radagon tomorrow, and it'll be done. So awesome. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Really, really, really appreciate you coming by. Thanks to everybody who dropped a little message out there. That always makes me feel good. I really appreciate those. It definitely, it's kind of funky and a little, maybe a little bit self-serving and all that, but it does make me feel better. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please think about doing that. That's really awesome. We're trying to make it to where this channel can start paying for some of these projects itself. You know, where we could buy some of this paint in house just by getting through the YouTube subscriptions and stuff. That would be really cool. You know, if not, no worries. I'm gonna keep doing this regardless. So that's cool. I like it. I think it's a lot of fun. Anyway, it's been a great day. I hope you had a great day. I know I had a great day, and we're gonna see you tomorrow for one last day with Radagon. And I think that's all I got. Bye.